And the market's been moving higher the last, week or so. So if we didn't have an election last night, I'm not sure we wouldn't be getting this anyway. But it does take an uncertainty out of the market. And I think that the VIX will continue to fall from like 17.5 now back towards 12. That'll push the stock market, I think, 5-8% between now and the end of the year.
Do the results color your view of sectors or your choices of sectors in any way?
A little bit. I think that if you would have had a Republican sweep, it would have been much more pro-cyclical. You would have been more assured of some kind of an investment, spending process. I think the likelihood, and Mitch McConnell was saying that that's a maybe. I'm kind of thinking that they don't come together on it.
Jared, I'm curious what you think this congressional makeup bodes for potential regulatory changes, particularly that affect tech. Can't help but notice Alphabet's up 2.5% this morning. Amazon is up nearly 5%. It seems like a split between the House and Senate might mean not much changes in that arena.
I totally agree. I don't expect much changes in that arena at all, but I didn't expect them anyway. And the reason is if you look at the deregulatory agenda of the Trump administration, it simply hasn't been legislative. I mean, there's a case or two where there's been a bill, but for the most part, it's been exclusively executive actions by the administration, and that's going to continue. If I may, let me just hitchhike for a second on Jonathan's point. I think one of the key outcomes from this election is that the positive fiscal impulse from all this deficit spending is today even more likely to fade late next year than it was already. And that was already the expectation. I strongly endorse his view that any more kind of piling on the deficit to juice an economy that's already closing in on full employment will not be seen out of this Congress.
So, Jared, where does that leave you in terms of betting on infrastructure?
Yeah, well, I think that's a low probability. If I were going to have to say anything that was above a 0 chance, it would probably be infrastructure. But I've already been talking with people about that this morning, and the question comes right away, what's here pay for? I have ideas about that I'd like to share with you, but for now, let me just say a low probability event. Not 0, but low.
Well, and I'm just curious, Sarah, do you think that the president's priorities are going to change because of the outcome here? I mean, we heard him on the campaign trail talking about health care and pre-existing conditions. We heard him say he would support a $10 federal minimum wage. We saw states last night, Missouri and Arkansas, institute big hikes there. Could we see the president's priorities changing?
I don't think they'll change a lot.
I
don't think they'll change a lot. I do think that there is a deal to be done if Democrats want to do it on prescription drug pricing. I mean, Donald Trump sounds more like a Democrat on that issue than a Republican, and it's a popular issue with voters, and so they could get a deal. But I would expect the president to embrace a Pelosi-led House of Representatives, and it is going to be a combative environment where all the new committee chairs will engage in investigations, in part because the Democratic base wants it. There's a possibility of impeachment hearings. I think Donald Trump will embrace that. It'll be more of the same in Washington, where very little gets done. Maybe infrastructure, maybe prescription drugs, and mostly investigations.